When it comes to ITX B550 motherboards, there are a lot of options that you can pick from. For example, the ROG Strix B550i and the ASRock Phantom Gaming motherboards immediately come to mind. However, in terms of value and features, the Gigabyte B550i AORUS Pro is hard to beat. Let's take a look at why that is the case. To start things off, the B550i AORUS Pro definitely looks like a high-end motherboard. The rear panel cover is quite large for an ITX motherboard, and it does a decent enough job of blending in with the VRM heatsinks. Other than that, the chipset heatsink can be seen above the PCIe x16 slot, and this also hides the M2 slot underneath. Since the heatsink is directly above the PCIe x16 slot, this would normally be a concern for overheating. Thankfully, that's not the case here. The large heatsink does a good job of dispersing heat, and there's no room for thermal throttling, even if you're pushing your GPU to the max. Since we're talking about performance, it is important to mention that this AORUS Pro motherboard features an 8-phase VRM configuration. This power delivery system performs quite well, especially for an ITX board. The 8 phases might not sound like a lot, but they do a good job of handling even higher-end processors like the Ryzen 9 5900X. In addition to its impressive VRM configuration, the Gigabyte B550i AORUS Pro also boasts many other features that make it an excellent choice for those looking to build a high-performance ITX system. One of these features is the inclusion of dual M2 slots, which allow for lightning-fast NVMe SSD storage. This is a high plus for gamers and content creators who need fast access to large files and applications. The AORUS Pro also supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0, providing users with fast and reliable wireless connectivity. Speaking of connectivity, we have access to 5 USB ports on the rear, along with a USB 3.2 Gen 2 x 2 Type-C port. It would have been nice to see a couple more ports, as most people will use most of them as soon as they install the motherboard. Memory overclocking is also quite decent. While it only has 2 DIMM slots, the B550i AORUS Pro features support for a maximum of 64 gigs of DDR4 at up to 5300 MHz. The ROG Strix B550i is the closest competitor to this board, and while that one may look marginally better, it also costs more without delivering any significant upgrades. Similarly, the MSI MPG B550i was also a good choice, but the fact that it uses a fan for the chipset heatsink might push away some people. Ultimately, the B550i AORUS Pro is the best B550 motherboard if you're looking to put together an ITX build. To sum up, what we like is the dual M2 slots, the impressive RGB lighting, the minimalistic design, and the robust VRMs. On the downside, it's expensive, and it could use more USB ports. Our rating for VRM design is 8 out of 10. Aesthetics, 7.5 out of 10. Connectivity, 8 out of 10. Value for money, 8 out of 10. For an overall rating of 7.8 out of 10. So what do you think? Do you like this motherboard? Check another video where we reviewed the best B550 motherboards and see if any of these is a better option for you.